ProClip had no influence over this instructions whatsoever. I bought the thing outright. So a little bit closer look at the actual phone holder. That's part of the ProClip system. And by system, you have this holder, which in this case comes with a tilt. Hands have to get in the way here in order to show it. So it's got a tilt to it, so you can actually kind of move it around once you get it in place on the bike or on the Slingshot. And it'll rotate and all that kind of good stuff. But this is the holder that you have to buy, and the phone will actually go in here, you know, like I'll show in this case, but it's case is not, I haven't adjusted it at all, so the case is a little too big, but I'll widen this out. There's 2 screws right here that will let me widen it out without too much difficulty. And I just noticed that this thing is cracked. How about that? Oh well, is what it is. So then you have the actual piece here, which mounts to the vehicle, and you can see that it's just an angled piece of plastic. It's pretty interesting how they mount this, and I'll go over this in detail when I go to put it on the bike itself. But in the meantime, I'll go ahead and adjust this and get the phone in it and show you that shot. Okay, I've loosened up the 2 screws, and the easiest way to do this is basically just take it and spread it out a little bit, which I've gotten completely widened out now. And you'll notice a couple of slots over here in the plastic on this side and on this side. They're clear behind it. So what you do basically is just take this and put it into place, get it where you know it'll fit properly. You can see a delivery notice there. That's my delivery notice is for my Insta360 X4. So we'll get to play with that a little bit later. But anyway, so now it's basically where I need it to be, and this thing will hold its positioning. So until I get it, you know, tightened down a little bit, and I'll actually loosen it up just a hair when I get ready to put it on the bike so that it can be a little bit easier to go in rather than having to use 2 hands. Now it'll just drop right in where I want it to go. There we go, and it slides right in. You can see that it's fairly straightforward to do, and then take it right back out from that perspective. So it's not too tough to deal with. Now, in order to make it a little easier to mount, going on your bracket, this bracket, you're going to take and unscrew this center screw. This is the center screw, holds it to the actual pivot table. You're not going to adjust these screws. You're going to adjust this pivot table or pivot arm, whatever you want to call it. And you're going to take that screw out. I'm not going to bore you with watching me take screws out all day long, but I'll get that screw out of there. And once it's loose, then it'll expose these other, there we go, the other portions of it. So then I can take it and move it to this and put the screws in that came in the package. And you can see it's got what's called an amps setup. So it'll line up right there, or it'll line up on top, and I can already tell you that I know I'm going to put it on top because I prefer things to be high because I'm 6'3". So anyway, it'll line up just like that without too much difficulty, and I'll put the 4 screws in it. Sometimes I just put 2 because 2 holds it plenty well enough. You're not going to break this thing taking it in and out of the phone holder from that perspective. And you can see that, you know, this is pretty straightforward. So from a perspective that this will be easy to mount. It's got a little lip here, another lip here. They've included the alcohol pad to make this one where this blue tape is, and this blue tape is kind of like a 3M tape, although it's not as strong as 3M tape. It's designed to peel off and then semi-permanently mount your holder to the bike. I never take the tape off. I always leave the tape on because oftentimes I may need to take the unit off for whatever reasons, and it will hold it in place without the tape being released. So I'll come back after I've got those got it all screwed together, and then we'll go out to the bike. I figured I better show this because what I thought was a crack was just actually the brake in the plastic, so it can, you know, move apart a little bit. So it wasn't a crack, so I don't have to call them up and ask them to replace it. I would have been surprised. I've never seen them have a crack on anything from ProClip. I've been using them since probably early 2000s for just about a mount for just about every one of my cars, and you can see a little bit better here, you know, how this thing works. You can see the channels right there. You can see the other channel on the other side. You can see that it's raised, so you can actually put a little bit of stuff behind it. It will take certain cases. They make this piece, this component piece, in multiple sizes. I think it's 3 total. One that has no case on the phone, the one that I got, which is the light case, and then they also have a heavy duty case for those guys like you know, who are working out in the field that have like an OtterBox or something that's really secure. Here's the other piece now with 2 screws in it. You can see one here and one up here. So it's fairly simple and straightforward to put it together. I could put the other 2 screws in, but quite frankly, you're not going to make this thing move hardly at all. It's just too tight for it to do that. Okay, and so you can see the other 2 screw holes here. Each time that I've ever gotten anything from them, they always have this brackets a little bit bigger, so you can mount it higher, you can mount it low. And as I mentioned, these are amps, AMPS, and I don't know what the acronym for it is, but these are amps holes, and so you could actually go get a different kind of mount if you wanted. But this works just fine the way that they manufacture it, and they've been doing it for some time. They're not cheap, 35 bucks, 35 bucks. So you're spending 70, but you got peace of mind that it's not going to fall off and not going to fall apart. Okay, here we are out in the bike. This should be fairly straightforward, fairly quick. You can see that this lip that's here is going to go right there. And then I'm just going to push the back into place. Snap, you heard it. There's the mount. And now we'll simply just go through it and drop the phone in place. And there you see the phone's in place. And of course I'm on the right hand side because that's the way I had to do it to get it to mount. But it's easily reachable, it's pivotable, so pretty cool. That's one reason why I've been using the ProClips, because you can do it. And I can take this off fairly simply, just simply by pushing back on it. And I already did it once, actually. Pushing it back, I'd rather do it with 2 hands though, so we're not going to try it again. Anyway, that's so much for the mount. And here's the phone from the driver's position. You can see it's well within arm's reach. I'm sitting in my normal spot. You could move up a little bit if you had to, if you got shorter legs or whatever the case may be. But that's all I need, you know, and it's right up there where you can see it against the screen. So if you're navigating, you can use this, or if you're navigating, you can use this. All depends upon which way you want to go.